Hello? Why is it saying I'm offline? Why is it saying I'm offline? Okay, I am stream settings. Settings, stream, service, restream IO. Okay. Like, I don't. Am I live? Am I live right now? Let me hit cancel. Alright, I just got an email. Oh, I am live. Okay. Hello. What is. Oh my god. Hey, Mateus. Sorry, I can't see anything right now. Okay. Copy and paste. All right, so it must work. Okay, so hi internet. Today I am not going to play a game. I'm actually going to talk about, and I hope I block out the wrong camera. Yes, we are going to talk about this election. And not just this election. I'm going to hit on a variety of topics. But first, this election. I would hope that whoever's watching this is also disappointed with the election results being this. Am I shocked? I want to say no. I'm not shocked. But I am surprised. Hold on. I don't really need this, right? Like the headphones. It's weird hearing myself. I I think initially, like I woke up like 2, 3 a.m. and like as soon as I saw Pennsylvania was called for Trump, I was like, oh, we're cooked. We're cooked, chat. But just initially, I remember taking screenshots. I have them. I don't have them on this computer, but I remember Googling and seeing Harris had Vermont. Vermont was called for Harris. She had three electoral. Trump had projected already like 60 versus Kamala's or VP Harris. VP Harris is three. And I was like, okay, kind of drastic. I'm going to hold out hope. But once I started seeing Texas was literally like blue, like kind of like how Arizona is like shaded but in blue, and I was like, yeah, that's gonna change. Like there's no way Texas is blue. So I was just like, okay, like if there's gonna be a little like waves, but then eventually everything just started going red, and I'm like, okay, sinking feeling, don't want to panic, but sinking feeling. And then I see, I don't want to say the regular states, but, I live in Connecticut. Connecticut's blue, but honestly, that's a whole other conversation. But here we are. Here we are. It's the Saturday after the election, and it's so funny because I went to New York. I drove down to New York today, and in 2020, I also drove down to New York on the Saturday after the election, and the difference is that in 2020 Biden was called as the winner of the race, and this time around it was just a Saturday. I've been very, very angry though, because people. So hold on, I actually have to be very careful. I did some testing, and like for some reason my bookmarks bar will show up every time I open a new tab, and I've played around with the settings. But let's look at the 2020 election results. Let's look at 2020 and compare to now. Now, I'm going to be careful. Ooh, I see the FEC. That looks like a good source, but if it's not a cute little graphic, I'm not going to broadcast it. Hold on, it's taking a little bit to load. Like, I need Like, I need a cute little map. Sorry, like that sounds... Okay, total. You know what? You know what? It's not going to be pretty. We don't have to do pretty. We have to do factual. Okay. Here are the election results from the 2020 electoral and popular vote. So, these totals for Biden, 81 million votes with 51% of the popular vote. Trump, 74 million with 46,000. Sorry. Sorry, 46% of the popular vote, not 46,000. Biden has 306 to 32. Now it's reverse with Trump. And then who are we waiting for? We're waiting on Arizona. Okay, 11. I was like, okay, this math is not mathing, which Arizona's going to Trump. I already know. Like, it's not just this, but I'm like, if Nevada was red, and it, like, Arizona and Nevada in 2020 had everybody in shambles in 2020. Like Maricopa County will forever be burned in my brain. Like, I associate, like, I know every election, I'm just gonna be like, does Maricopa County have it together this time? Anyway, back to 2020. So let's look at Connecticut, where I live, right? 1 million versus 1,000. Now, I didn't pay attention to this back in 2020. I should have, because I was just like, okay, who was blue? Obviously, I knew the margins were close. And yes, I was disgusted that they're close, because he shouldn't, well, in 2020, he shouldn't have, but like in 2024, he should have never had a shot. Never. Oh, I just realized, I don't know if anyone can hear me. Let me just test my stream real quick. I'm getting nervous. I'm getting a little nervous. The margins were close. Okay, good. And yes. Okay, so now I know that you can hear me. Okay, right? So, let me highlight it. Right? Remember these numbers. So, Connecticut. Okay, so 98%. So, even though Trump lost Connecticut, he still has more votes. But VP Harris has less votes than Biden. I wish it was showing me. Can I just want to zoom in on Connecticut and like see. I just want to see like third party, because it's like not showing me third party. And I'm not opening another tab because I'm not trying to dox myself. Anyway, so that is thousands and thousands of votes. Whether those people are abstaining from voting, writing in, going third party, which I don't even like the concept of third party, but we'll get to that. Trump increased and Democrats decreased. So even though Connecticut is blue, there is a shift towards the right. Now, do I have a problem with shifting between a party inherently? No. Shifting towards Trump, I am concerned. Especially over the past 4 years, what has come out. But let's look at a red state. Let's look at a red state, and then I'm going to move on. So let's say, you know what? I'm going to choose Florida. 99% reporting. 6.1 million for Trump, 4.6 million for VP Harris. Where's Florida? So Florida was I don't say very close, but that's what, about 400,000 votes difference? No, that's like 290. That's okay. Or yeah, this about 300 to 400,000 votes. So let's look at these. Sorry, I like no. So 5.6 and look now. That is 1 million right? Oh wait, not quite. Okay. Not a million. Sorry, I was confusing the six. Wait, Trump. Sorry. Wait. Sorry, Trump. Okay, so Trump had 500,000 increase, and Biden, well, I associate Biden and like Harris because Harris is currently VP, and it was originally going to be Biden that it was supposed to be a 2020 like rematch essentially. That is that is a shift. Whether people are not voting, that is a decrease in an increase, even in a red state. So people are like, oh, well, the state is going to be red anyway. There was a very high chance, or I don't want to say very high chance, but look how thin. Look how, like it's widening. Like that's I think people aren't talking about that. And people are saying like how do I explain it? It's like, oh, so close, or like people didn't show up and vote. Like, I am so excited for when the federal election, like, I can't wait to see. And I'm glad I clicked it. I'm glad I ended up clicking this document because I think it's important to use what's released, .gov. Like, what are your sources? .gov are mine. Uh, because there's so many tangents I want to go on. But people, whether you want to say people didn't show up or ballots got lost, like that's a whole other thing. But let's focus on what we're seeing right now, right? More people are going towards Trump. And we can talk about Senate. Let's talk about Senate. Let's see. Oh wait, 2020. Oh, this is for the House. Presidential. Sorry, that's my bedtime. Should turn my phone off. See, I find this. Okay. For a second, I was like, this is interesting. But, so let me interpret this, right? I was like, why is there so much less for the Senate? But there are Senate races. Not every state is having an open seat because Senate terms, I believe, are 6 years. So, most of the time there is somebody running, but there are some times where there are no vacancies. But the House is going to be every 2 years. All those seats are up for grabs. So it's interesting to see, some people, it's very clear. Some people just, or didn't vote for House, that didn't vote, or, yeah, some people just voted for president, or whether they went across the line and just didn't bother to vote for the House. There are more people that vote for president that didn't vote for House. But let's pick a state, right? Look at this. This is still pretty close. People want to say, oh, people didn't vote. But my point is, people are. I feel like a lot of people like me who are disappointed are trying to be like, oh, it's voter suppression. Oh, the votes aren't there. They're probably burned. And I'm sure some are. But I'm sure along with burned Harris votes, there were burned Trump votes. People are making this choice. And I that's why I wanted to do the stream, because I could have gone on Instagram, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk about this publicly. People made this choice. America did speak. It's a tough pill to swallow, but America really told us who we really are. But I will say, I am shocked. I am still shocked that in 4 years' time, the country that by razor thin margins elected Biden, oh, actually, I don't want to say razor thin. Like, this isn't really razor thin. Like, razor thin with this would be like 80 million for Trump. But like this, Georgia, Georgia was close. That was close. Arizona. Where else? I'm literally just skimming 2020 right now. Where else was Pennsylvania had to be? This isn't as close, but still it's close. So how do we go from being that close in swing states to let's look at that gap. Georgia, that's still pretty that's close. That's not as close as 2020. Not as close as 2020. I'm not even going to lie. I don't remember the numbers low key, but this is not as close as the gap is widening. So I'm wondering, how did we get here? And I've had a lot of conversations with friends. And ask yourself, have you talked to people around you? Because I know people who were confused. And I mean confused about who to vote for. And in my mind, I don't want to say that's crazy. Like, who knows? They could be watching this. Like, I don't want, if you're watching this and you talk to me, like, I'm not calling you like crazy or anything. But to me, Trump was never an option for me. And I was a fan of him in 2014, like the early 2010s. I loved Celebrity Apprentice. I watched that show every Sunday. I thought it was so great how they were raising money for charities. But, now I know there probably was something more to that show. And it wasn't all rainbows and charity. Or I shouldn't say it wasn't. It probably wasn't. Anyway, so I'm just saying that to be like, I wasn't just coming out hating Trump. Like, I knew of Trump. Trump is a figure in pop culture now. But pre-2016, Trump was, and I'm trying to figure out who to compare him to because I don't want to bring up the certain artist names. But, people would bring Donald Trump up as the businessman. It would be a compliment. It would be a compliment. It would be... It would have positive connotations. And some people still have those associations with him, but those associations were more blanket, were more mainstream. It wasn't as divided or Trump wasn't a polarizing figure. I low-key forgot where I was going with this. Oh yes, I remember. But with those conversations, everyone I know, not everyone I know, actually, a very small figure I know personally voted for Trump. But out of all the people I've talked to about this election who voted for Harris, they know somebody who is marginalized or by definition would be considered a part of a marginalized group voted for Trump. And I'm glad to have those conversations because, I could be on my phone and I'm like, who voted for Trump? Who voted for Trump? But I'm not talking to people around me, like talking to people in real life. And, I could be like, this is crazy. Like, there's no way. I don't know anybody. But people are. And I think people are afraid to say they have. People are afraid to say they have. And I'm sure in the silence, and this is also something I've noticed on my social media, people are silent. Like, people who would have been like, yay, like Harris, or like, people are not talking on either side. I'm talking. I'm so vocal on social media. I was baffled when I found out some people of color I know voted for Trump. Same. Like, the initial shock has worn off. And now I don't want to say I understand it. Like, I agree and I want to justify. But now I understand how, in terms of, I'm making, like, I need to seriously get to the point. But So I'm going to talk about a very particular conversation that I had. So I bring up, because I'm on Black Twitter, I'm on TikTok, and I bring up how Black people are going back to Starbucks, are going back to McDonald's. And I shouldn't say all Black people, but some Black people, right? So I was explaining how there's like memes, and I was like, oh, you guys know about the boycott with Starbucks and McDonald's, right? And they're like, what? No, like I had no idea there was a boycott. And I'm like, wow, for a year, I'm thinking this is a widely known thing. I know I was the one to tell my family members. So I'm just thinking, we're on the same Instagram, we're on the same Twitter, we're on the same TikTok, but we're not on the same. Is not my sister's For You page. My sister voted for Harris. Sorry, don't come for her. I'm just using my sister because my sister and